Remaining secrets, from the jungle guardian to the mysterious code. Hello, dear loyal companions of the channel. Get ready for a mysterious connection today. In this segment, we are bringing together two major enigmas we explored this past week. The Legend of Biloko, Wednesday's video, and the Unsolved Mystery of Gunther Stoll, Saturday's video. We are moving from the jungles of Congo, where Kaimba vanished, to the cold roads of West Germany in 1984. A journey from a purely mythical disappearance to a chilling real-life puzzle. The common thread? The dread of an invisible force and vanishings that challenge both history and folklore. Part 1. Two victims, one fear? The story of Kaimba, a man who disrespected nature and was dragged into the darkness by the vengeful dwarf Biloko. This is an ancient warning. No action goes unpunished. His terror was the terror of nature's retribution. In contrast, we have Gunther Stoll, a man who lived in perpetual dread. They are following me. Found by truck drivers near death, beaten and bleeding. His last words hinted at 4 attackers who fled the scene. In the final moments of his life, on a crumpled napkin, he left behind only one clue, a meaningless word, an unsolved secret that stalled the police for years. Y-O-G-T-Z-E. Part 2. The connection of the mysteries. Both of our victims, in legend and in reality, felt they were being chased. Both were paralyzed by an obscure force, leading to vanishing or death. Kaimba was punished by Biloko, a figure of vengeance. Gunther was led to his death by Yogtze, an incomprehensible code. These stories prove to us that the line between myth and reality is often very thin. Some secrets, whether deep in the jungle or next to modern highways, will never be revealed. Join us as we continue to recount the chilling details of each of these cases. Today we are journeying deep into the jungles of Congo, not for a simple tour, but to explore the heart of a local legend known as Biloko, and the lessons this ancient tale holds for our modern lives. The story of Kaimba, a man who mocked nature and carelessly dumped bottles, trash, and even personal waste without any respect for the jungle, is an all-too familiar one. Kaimba is an example of pure selfishness. He acts with arrogance and indifference, as if he is entitled to everything, and no force exists beyond his momentary satisfaction. He commits these acts not out of fear, but merely to ensure he is unseen, showcasing his utter recklessness. Part 1. The Supernatural View. The Jungle's Guardian. For those who believe in a power beyond the material world, the legend of Biloko, the vengeful dwarf and the jungle's sentry, is a cosmic warning. In this view, Biloko is the physical embodiment of nature's retribution. He is not simply a fictional monster, but the jungle's own defense mechanism. When Kaimba first feels he is being watched, this is the initial whisper of warning. The sudden, abrupt shutdown of his motorcycle and the rustling sound of a small, heavy creature set the stage for an invisible attack. Biloko, in this narrative, is nature's ultimate enforcer of justice. He arrives to punish arrogance and indifference. Kaimba's absolute terror stems not from a physical being, but from facing the consequences of his actions in the form of a supernatural entity. This narrative reminds us that our environment is alive, governed by an unwritten law of mutual respect. Part 2. The Realistic View, the Psychological Mirror. But if we adhere to the world of verified phenomena, how can we analyze this story? From a psychological perspective, Kaimba's disappearance can be seen as a powerful allegory for inner collapse. 1. The effect of guilt and anxiety. Kaimba acts with pride, yet subconsciously he knows his actions are wrong. The feeling of being watched on his return journey is likely not an external gaze, but the projection of his inner guilt and anxiety. In the fading light of dusk, the long shadows activate his internal fears. 2. The disconnect from reality. The motorcycle's failure symbolizes the sudden cessation of his ability to flee and ignore. When he angrily kicks his bike, he is, in reality, kicking against his own inability to control the situation. 3.3. Suspense. Surrender to horror. The whispering voice and invisible attack can represent a psychotic break. Kaimba is paralyzed, not by a spell, but by sheer terror. Ultimately, his being dragged away and disappearance is a metaphor for sinking into the darkness and isolation of his own wicked deeds. Society and nature reject him, and he literally vanishes from sight. Biloko could simply be the name locals give to the madness born of a guilty conscience. Conclusion: the shared lesson. Whether Biloko is a vengeful dwarf or a powerful metaphor for ecological psychology, the story's message is constant. Respect for the environment and self-respect are inseparable. Kaimba forgot that the jungle is, in the end, a reflection of our own behavior. Discarding waste not only pollutes nature, but also degrades the individual soul. The legend of Biloko, in either interpretation, serves as a potent reminder. If you believe in the supernatural, know that nature has guardians who punish disrespect. If you are a realist, know that disrespect for nature has psychological and social consequences that can lead you to the brink of madness. So, the next time you think about simply throwing something away, remember Kaimba and Biloko. The jungle hears us, and the earth never forgets. Here is our analysis of the unsettling true crime enigma. The last word of guilt. 1. The anatomy of a whisper, the psychological trap. The year is 1984. The landscape is West Germany. Our focus, Gunther Stoll, a man defined by his sudden, terrifying anxieties. He wasn't a spy, not a criminal kingpin. He was simply unemployed. Yet, his recurring whisper, "They are following me, they want to trap me," is the perfect overture to a psychological noir. We must ask, was Stoll a victim of true calculated pursuit, or was he a victim of his own mind? The fundamental tragedy of the noir genre is the collapse of reality. Stoll's journey, from the frantic call at his ex-girlfriend's door to his desperate flight, is a descent into existential dread. He was running from something palpable, or perhaps from the unbearable weight of his own failure. A fear so potent it became self-fulfilling. This is where the case truly hooks us. His terror was so vivid, so immediate, that we are forced to believe him, even if the evidence remains silent. Tuyog-zi, the unsolvable MacGuffin. The heart of this entire enigma lies in 6 non-German, meaningless letters. Y-O-G-T-Z-E. This word is the ultimate MacGuffin of the real world, a clue that drives the plot but ultimately remains empty. Gunther Stoll, recovering from collapse in a dim, forgotten pub, scratches the letters onto a napkin, only to violently cross them out, as if realizing his mistake. Or perhaps, realizing the futility of warning anyone. What does Yogtsi represent? We have the obvious theories: a license plate fragment, a code word for a secret transaction, or the name of one of his alleged attackers. But the profound horror is the possibility that it means nothing at all. A dying man's final, desperate attempt at communication that utterly failed. A symbol of the dissonance between our internal reality and the cold, external universe. The fact that he crossed it out is crucial. Was it an admission that the word was wrong, or was it a final, silent surrender to the forces hunting him? 3. The contradiction of the crime scene. The contradiction at the accident site is where the official narrative utterly fails the Noir standard. The police closed the file as a personal traffic incident, but the evidence screams otherwise. Stoll was found with severe, non-accidental injuries, evidence of a brutal beating. His body was found on the passenger seat, almost entirely unclothed. His shoes were placed neatly in the driver's footwell. The keys were on the back seat. This scene is meticulous. It suggests a staging, an attempt to clean up, to confuse, and to mock the concept of justice. The 4 men Stoll mentioned? They vanished into the West German night, leaving behind a sterile, yet screaming, portrait of violence. The nakedness itself is a sign of humiliation, or perhaps a disturbing ritualistic element, utterly inconsistent with a simple car crash. When the facts fail to align, the system often defaults to the simplest, most comfortable lie. In this case, the simple lie was that Stoll drove himself to ruin. The terrifying reality is that someone else drove him to his final hour. 4. The enduring shadow. Gunther Stoll died without justice, his last breath consumed by a coded word. The case remains cold, an open wound in the annals of German true crime. This isn't just a story about an unsolved crime. It is a terrifying mirror reflecting the fragility of our sense of safety. It reminds us that sometimes the shadows we fear are not just figments of our paranoia, but are real. And when they finally catch us, the only legacy we leave behind might be 6 incomprehensible letters. The mystery of YOGTZE remains an eternal whisper in the dark.